Oh. Hello. I don't know who's going to sit through that, but I wanted to record my honest reaction to, just one of Chihiro ONITSUKA's songs. I'm American, and I try to pronounce things the Japanese way, so I am probably going to say Chihiro Onitsuka and Chihiro Onitsuka. I don't know either way. The best way I can explain this to people who like aren't familiar with like Japanese pop culture music and all that is Chihiro Onitsuka is like, for her time, she was like the Japanese Britney Spears. And this is probably going to turn into a Leave Britney Alone video, honestly. But it's Leave Chihiro-san alone. Leave Onitsuka-san alone. See, now look, if you've watched videos on this channel, odds are you're probably aware that Breath of Fire 5 Dragon Quarter is my favorite game of all time. It's not the best game of all time. It has more than its fair share of flaws and problems. But I love it so much that I can look over them, because the core of what it made me feel was more important than focusing on any negative aspects about it. It is my favorite game of all time. And, you know, after I finished it, I'm in like a deeply emotional state the first time I finished Dragon Quarter. Like, it's one of those things that while you experience it, you know, this is the best. It's never going to get better than this. This is peak. This is true peak. That's what Dragon Quarter was for me. And then the credits start playing, and it's a Chihiro Onitsuka song, who I had never heard of. I don't know who this woman is. But she sung Castle Imitation. Ooh. I can't even begin to explain to you the density of the fluid that just synthesized inside of my heart chambers. So much as saying the name of that song. My blood pumping engine grows heavy with deep emotions that are felt at the innermost core of a person, the center of the being. I didn't even know what she was saying. I don't know how to speak Japanese. It wasn't what she was saying. It was how she was singing it. It started just touching these deep parts of my heart. I didn't understand why. And over the years, you know, I find out who she is. I listen to lots of her music. I don't like listening to live concerts very often, but I love listening to live concerts of Chihiro Onitsuka, because every single song that she sings deserves applause afterwards. It's so crazy. Like, I don't even know what she's saying. I don't speak Japanese. I have to look up the lyrics afterwards and try to be like, why did this song make my heart erupt with waterfalls of tears? Why did that happen? You know, sometimes you look up the history of a celebrity and it's like, whoa, yo, they had a dark life. Y'all seen that one like Korean mukbang eater? She goes to sushi places and clears out like 115 plates of sushi at conveyor belt places. Y'all seen that girl? She's pretty cool. My wife and I like her. She's pretty chill. And then we look up her history and it's like, dog, what? Whoa. She's been through that and she's still positive? Bro, that's crazy. She been through something and she's still standing up. You respect people who can go through that. ONITSUKA-SAN, you know, the tipping point for her was when her abusive boyfriend, who was taking advantage of her for her money, came home drunk and wanted more money to go to hostess bars with his friends. And, you know, she wouldn't let him or whatever. She's like, no, you're not getting no more money. And so he gets on top of her and starts like straddling her while she's asleep in bed, not really awake that much, and starts punching her in the face repeatedly until she is jaw broken, all that. And society said that she's at fault for her boyfriend beating her up because she didn't do what a good wife is supposed to do. And at that point, me, as an American, I don't live in Japan. I don't adhere to the Bushido Code. I don't think that every single thing is the fault of the woman in every single type of domestic abuse situation, which, by the way, in Japan, domestic abuse is always the fault of the wife, no matter what happens, basically. It's not really that great. Chihiro Onitsuka was then subject to this kind of bullshit and this kind of mockery, this social dragging through the mud, subjugated to people making fun of her online, and then she decided, you know what? Fuck Japan. Fuck Japanese society. Fuck all of you. You gonna talk about me like that after what I've been through? I don't want to be part of your society no more. Here's the thing you gotta understand about Japanese culture. You can't have tattoos that are visible on the outside of your clothes. That's why a lot of Yakuza actually wear suits, like full body suits, ties, all that in Japan. It's mostly to cover up their tattoos in public, right? You know, people with visible public tattoos aren't allowed in the bathhouses because it makes people uncomfortable because it's associated with Yakuza, that type of thing. You cannot have visible tattoos. So that's not to say that people in Japan don't get tattoos. They just get them in places where the general public is probably never going to see them. And especially if they figure, I'm never going to have to go to a bathhouse and whatever, I want a tattoo. But in Japan, if you get a tattoo, you get it in a really secret place or you're Yakuza. ONITSUKA-SAN went and got tribal spike, or thorny, twisting, full forearm, wrist sleeve tattoos. And she walked around in public in halter tops, little fancy European American sundresses with her arms fully exposed in public, and say, you know what, go ahead and judge me. This is how much I care about society's opinion about me. Chihiro Onitsuka is a top tier mega American G boss, a triple S rank plus with like 5 jeweled crowns after it, mega badass. Like, bro. And you know, like, to take it back to the Britney Spears, you know how Britney Spears had that oops, I did it again? Chihiro Onitsuka-SAN, she had Gecko. You know, if some of you play Final Fantasy 11, you know, Tachi, Gecko, Moonlight. Yeah, that was her, like, big song, Gecko, Moonlight. And it garnered a lot of attention from people for how brutally honest and sincere, not just the lyrics were, but with the heartfelt intensity with which she sung them. It wasn't someone putting on an act or a performance like any J-pop singer or idol singer up on a stage typically does, full of Genki and fake Japanese energy to please crowds. She went up there and sung about the most depressing thing anyone's ever heard in their freaking life, and she meant every single word of it. and other people felt it. They resonated with it. It was something that was just stabbing right through the chinks in the Bushido armor of society. And it was just one of those songs. If you're alive and you were born in the 80s and you grew up in Japan, there is no chance in God's heaven or earth that you don't know about Chihiro Onitsuka's Gecko. It is a huge song. Everyone knows Gecko. And not too many years ago, you know, ONITSUKA-SAN, she can't really sing that well anymore. Her vocal cords have deteriorated, and even though she goes to do concerts at jazz halls and stuff, I'm gonna be honest, it doesn't sound good. But it's not about the way it sounds, it's about the way it makes you feel. Even though life has taken so much from her, and she can still barely sing the way she used to, she still gets out there and sings because she loves it. Because she loves expressing herself. She still does it anyway. That's what draws the crowd still. That's what draws people to her, you know? She was honest from day one. She's never worn a mask the way other Japanese celebrities do. And then, you know, she's in a pachinko parlor with one of her friends. Her friends maybe had a little too much, 50 proof alcohol or 50% alcohol, you know, like a really hard drink, you know what I'm saying? And they've been hanging around at the pachinko parlor. It's really hot. Everyone's smoking. She gets way too dehydrated. The foam dripping off my beard. But they go outside, try to get some fresh air. And ONITSUKA-SAN calls an ambulance for her friend because she's really worried about her. And she just faints on the ground. She had way too much to drink. She was inside a smoky pachinko parlor for way too long. And, you know, you get a little drunk, you get a little crazy, right? ONITSUKA-SAN started losing it with all these people walking by, calling her a washed up celebrity. Literally, as her friend is being loaded up into an ambulance, all these people are walking by just slandering her, insulting her, you know, just all these people saying nasty stuff about her. And maybe she had a bit to drink herself, and so she's really frustrated at everything that's going on. And so she kind of kicks the bumper of the ambulance, you know, just I just gotta hit something right now. Just, dang it, man, seriously. My friend's getting loaded up to an ambulance and y'all just call me names and stuff. Are you serious right now? That's a hard thing to endure, frankly, especially given the scenario and the circumstances. It's incredibly unfair. It's horrible, frankly. All those people should, frankly, be ashamed of themselves. According to Bushido law that everyone says that she violated, you're not supposed to say things like that in public. You're not supposed to make loud, disparaging remarks against other people in public. And with all that negativity heaped on her and all the frustration and the fear of not knowing if her friend is going to be safe or not, she, kicks the back bumper of this ambulance. And all the media and the news headlines and everything be like, washed up singer assaults ambulance and, breaks Japanese, medical property and all. It's bro, she kicked a bumper, right? But, the tabloids, they start being like, Chihiro Onitsuka jumped into an ambulance and started, ripping IV fluids out of her friend. They start making her sound like a crazy drunk person. And they just start making up all these stories about her. when all she was concerned for her friend. And when you get like 100 people heaping insults on you in the span of like 5 minutes like that, while you're watching your best friend get loaded into an ambulance and you don't know if they're going to be okay or not. I think she should have Chun-Li kicked out a window, frankly, man. Kick a bumper. Man, you didn't break enough, ONITSUKA-SAN. Man, seriously. But the Japanese media headlines, they want to villainize someone to get everyone's attention, you know. So they dump on her for that. I think that's so terrible. She gets assaulted by her boyfriend, and society's like, oh, well, it's your fault he punched you in the face while you were sleeping. And so she says, well, fine, F society then. You know? Can't blame a person for going into that after, you know, what she went through, man. But still, sometimes, maybe you go into one of those quiet jazz lounges. It's 2 a.m. One of those new places in Shinjuku where no one knows each other yet. ONITSUKA-SAN might be sitting there next to the piano, just waiting for someone to play. Doesn't matter what it is. She just wants to sing. And for everything she's been through, the fact she didn't let society take her passion away. She didn't let them take away the thing that she loves. I think that she's truly one of the most remarkable singers in the entire history of mankind. Thank you for listening. Appreciate your time. Listen to Chihiro Onitsuka. Listen to Castle Imitation. Listen to Gecko. I mean, just listen to that. You know? If nothing else. Yeah, that's good. God bless. I'm out.